appendages. Look at this.
Oh, whoa. Yeah, that's different. That's not what I thought you were talking about.
Look at the fucking length of those. What are those things that dangle from it? What'd you call those things?
Tentacles? Legs?
Tentacles, legs. What is it? But look at the legs on it. It's like an insect.
Yeah, that's very bizarre.
See how they have like very like obvious bends. Video courtesy of Shell Oil Company. Doing a good job for nature.
Yeah, right.
You see the deep. There's another one. Is that another image of it?
Other thing.
But look how weird it is. How it has like clear bends. Like when you see that thing underwater floating around like that looks like an alien.
Totally. That is our exact kind of depiction of what an alien species
Go to
is.
that green one right next to it on the left. Yeah, look at that. Like, look at that thing.
It's crazy.
Man. I mean, if you saw that underwater, you would shit your pants.
100%. 100%.
And it's 100 feet.
Yeah.
It's huge.
It's nuts.
I mean, is it that big? How big did they say it was? Am I making that up? Didn't they say the tentacles go crazy long?
It looks like it.
Yeah, they said the thing was enormous, but that the length of the actual tentacles or whatever the fuck it is was really long. So strange. And this, before they got this video footage of it, they didn't even know something like this was real.
And there's like a lot of those where you get these deep sea cameras and you're like, oh, there's a species we haven't ever documented before.
So it's in the Gulf of Mexico. They caught it at a depth of 7,800 feet. But does it say how big they think it is?
You can just type in that Magna Pena squid size.
Big fin. Look at the fucking, just how weird it looked. Like the way that the head of it sort of pulsates and moves with the waves. Like
it's like a Steven Spielberg creation.
Yeah, there's that, and then there's also a puppy.
Right.
You know, like that's how diverse life is. Okay, the length is up to 15 to 20 times the mantle.
26 feet.
26 feet. Okay, that's
or
pretty
more.
Big. Or more.
Yeah.
Well, giant octopuses too, right? Giant squids were thought to be bullshit until like fairly recently, right?
Correct. Yeah, I don't know when specifically, but they've found a few that have washed up, and then they got some actual footage of some. That's what I thought you were talking about on some rigs. Which is just crazy.
What about octopi? What's the largest of the octopi?
The giant Pacific octopus. So the species that you saw attacking that eagle, that's not a huge one, but as far as I know, that's the largest one.
Look at the fucker.
Yeah.
Look at that thing. Look at that dead one. That's a giant squid?
It's a big cephalopod. Giant squid, yeah.
That thing's huge. That looks like it's more than 28 feet. If you stretch that bitch out?
No, those ones are like 100 plus feet.
Okay, that's what I'm thinking.
The giant squid, yeah.
100 plus feet.
They can get up to that. Yeah.
That is so nuts,
isn't it?
100-foot jelly creature, you know.
And you know what's interesting is sperm whales will leave the surface of the ocean and dive down to their depths to hunt those.
Jeez,
that's what
delicious.
Their teeth are for.
Calamari, bro.
It's a lot of calamari.
Calamari's good. Look at that fucker. So weird. So the large Pacific octopus, giant Pacific octopus, how big does that guy get?
I don't know. And I mean, because they're fan out, so I'm not sure. Maybe 5 feet long, 6 feet long, but heavy, like 40, 50, 60 pounds, something like that. They've got a really big one at the Monterey Bay Aquarium.
Really?
Yeah, really cool one.
Oh, I've been to that. I've been to that aquarium back in the day.
Yeah.
The legend of the Kraken. Like, they used to think that was all total horseshit.
Right.
Until they found some fossilized cups. They found some suction cups that were, some fossilized evidence of enormous cups that they think are indicative of this, real 100-foot octopus or huge fucking octopus.
Well, or just a 100-foot squid on the surface.
Yeah.
Like you said, those stories always get embellished. So even if it was a 60-foot squid on the surface, say it was injured or dying and it was alive and the boat hit it and it starts slapping the boat with its tentacles.
Hi, mate, it's the Kraken trying to get us.
Like, that's not going to turn into a crazy sea fable.
Can you imagine, though, if you were one of those dudes that was, like, making your way across the ocean and you, in the 1100s or some shit, and you jump in the water to wash off and you get eaten by a giant octopus in front of your friends?
Yeah, that's...
You see something come out of the desk. And it eats you with a beak.
Right, chomps you. Oh, it's literally suction cups that rip you apart.
Oh.
It's crazy.
And it's totally possible that those things were huge. We just don't have the fossil evidence because they're all made out of jelly.
Right.
They're just like...
They don't fossilize.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All you get is like, if you... those fossilized... the images of the the cups is just because it left an imprint in some sort of soil or something at the bottom of the ocean. So there's a plate. There's this thing that looks like a half a basketball, and when it's on, you can't come anywhere near it. You can't touch it.
Right.
What is gravity about that? Like the concept of gravity to most people is gravity is bringing something towards it.
Right. Well, I guess you would say it's anti-gravity. Mm-hmm. It's gravity shifted 180 degrees. It's anti-gravity.
And did they have any understanding about what could possibly create this effect? Did they have any areas where they'd like you to look into?
No, they knew there was a fuel source in it, and they were proficient at making it work. And again, my analogy to something like this is you can drop a motorcycle off in the wagon train days and just leave it with the keys parked outside, somebody's place. Everybody will come around it and they'll poke and prod, and eventually they'll turn the key, get it to start, and become proficient at riding it.
Yeah.
But they won't be able to understand what the hell's going on. They won't be able to make the plastic fender, much less anything else. And I think that's exactly the state we were at. We played around with the parts long enough before I got there where they could make the reactor operate, take the fuel out, and know that it makes it work. How exactly what was going on in the reactor remained a mystery at the time. I think we made some progress on what was going on inside, but I don't think anybody really knew anything. They could just watch what was going on and make note of it.
How long were you there?
I'd say about 6 months or so.
And what progress was made while you were there?
Well, we came up with a bunch of reasonably good ideas about how the reactor worked. And one of them was the square base of it was essentially like a cyclotron, which is a small particle accelerator, a circular one. Particle accelerators, linear particle accelerators, are just a, long tube essentially, and they accelerate particles with high voltage and, radio frequencies till they reach high speeds. But a cyclotron does that in a small circular area. And there's this very heavy element fuel, element 115, something that wasn't on our periodic charts at the time.
But it is now.
It is now.
Destiny of the soul. And I go into the issue of ayahuasca in this book because, first of all, ayahuasca is itself another example of Amazonian science. As you and I and many of the listeners and viewers know, the active ingredient of ayahuasca is DMT, dimethyltryptamine. But dimethyltryptamine is not normally accessible through the gut. We have to smoke it or vape it to get that rocket ship to the other side of reality. And the journey lasts, 10, 12 minutes, not much more than that, and sometimes quite a lot less. What ayahuasca does is it makes DMT available through the gut. The reason it's not available through the gut is because of an enzyme in the gut called monoamine oxidase. And that switches off DMT on contact. The ayahuasca vine, which is one of the two ingredients of the ayahuasca brew, the other ingredient is leaves that contain DMT. The ayahuasca vine contains a monoamine oxidase inhibitor, which switches off the enzyme in the gut and allows the DMT to be accessed orally, which produces a rather different journey from the smoked or vaped DMT trip. It's a much longer journey. It's 4 or 5 hours. It allows you to integrate and to interrelate with the strange landscapes in which you find yourself amongst. And the entities that you encounter, I'm not making any claims about the reality status of those entities, but what I am saying, and it's a fact, is that people who work with DMT and ayahuasca do encounter what they construe to be entities who communicate with them intelligently. So somebody in the Amazon, out of 150,000 different species of plants and trees, selected 2 that are not psychoactive on their own, but when put together, create an extraordinary visionary brew. And ayahuasca means the vine of the dead. And what it's connected to in South American religious and spiritual thinking is what happens to us when we die. The Tucano, who are an Amazonian people who work regularly with ayahuasca, I mean, the Tucano actually will give a teaspoonful of ayahuasca to a newborn infant. They feel ayahuasca is so important that there is a hidden realm around us which we are not normally aware of, and we need to be aware of it. And ayahuasca is an important part of that.
Glass, like.
Whoa.
Yeah. Yeah, that's our camera.
They've started to, that's from yours?
Yeah.
Wow, look at that thing.
Yeah.
That is so majestic. What an amazing animal. Those glowing eyes.
Well, that's the crazy thing. You shine your headlamp into the night, and then when things look back at you, you got to wonder what it is. It's like,
well, when there's two eyes in the front, you know, it's
two eyes in the front, yeah. But sometimes the deer, but then the jags do this thing where they move their head like this. They try and see around your headlamp. They'll like do this little side to side thing. Like the deer, they'll just blink at you. They'll just blink, and so you start learning the eye shines. You start learning the, you know, because then you can be out there at night and you look at something and people are like, oh shit, dude, it's a jag. And it's like, no, it's a deer.
When you were saying that the uncontacted tribe were speaking in monkey calls,
yeah.
What are they doing?
So JJ's dad used to tell us, he said, if you're ever out in the forest and something doesn't sound right, he was like, get out of there. And he was like, because they will use the tinamou calls, like the undulated tinamou is like, but like, we know what that sounds like, but we also know what it doesn't sound like. And so like every now and then you'll hear one that's, you know, different. And like we all get freaked out because we're like, that's how we do it. That's how JJ taught me to do it. Like if there was a bunch of tourists right there and JJ wanted me to come over and like chill with him and we wanted to go hang, he would just do that. He'd get my attention. And like, I know that it's not a tinamou. I know it's JJ. And so it's like, they've taken that to a whole nother level where they can communicate. And so there was a group of guys who was upriver and they got surrounded. They heard monkey calls coming from different directions, and they realized that they were completely surrounded. And they, like at least one of the guys who was telling it to me, he got in the water and like crawled like a turtle and like escaped. And then the tribe showed up, and then there was this whole showdown where they actually shot one of the community members, and then one of the guys who knows some of their language was saying that it looked like they were mad with the guy that shot the guy. They were mad with him. Like they were like, why did you do that? Now there's going to be retaliation. Like, why did you shoot him? And like there was like a whole discussion happening while these people were like huddled in the stream waiting to see if they got killed too. So it's like, I don't really, you know, like, so when you get these loggers going in there, it's like, yo, we'll pay you to protect the rainforest, and like you don't have to do this. You don't have to be going into these areas that are that dangerous. So yeah, so at this point now, though, through all of this, though, we've established jungle keepers. We have 50,000 acres. We're trying to do 300,000 acres. And if we can do that, we'll basically be helping to establish one of the largest protected areas in the Amazon rainforest, which will encompass these uncontacted people. And they can stay uncontacted and they can stay safe and do whatever they want to do in the jungle, guarding the secret pyramids and the giant ground sloths or whatever the hell it is that they do. But we're close.
Now, how many uncontacted tribes are they aware of?
I think there's like over 100 different groups across the Amazon. Wow. There's also varying degrees of, and the other thing is the conversation so often gets turned to like they're, you know, violent, and that they're people that live out in the jungle. And I have no idea how they do it either, because, you know, at night we need headlamps. We don't have night vision. All the animals have night vision. So it's like, what do they do that night? They're able to make fire in the jungle at night every day. If I gave you an entire book of matches, me and you, we sat down right now in the jungle. I was like, okay, cool. You got a machete and a book of matches. First one to make fire wins. We couldn't do it. It's wet. Everything is wet. So how are they? Are they doing bow drill? What are they doing? So
we don't know.
We don't really know. No. We don't know how they do that. We don't know how they stay infection free. We don't know what they do with their old people. We never see old people. We never really see children. And so like they move around, and we see like groups of men on beaches. We see like that aerial picture where you see like a family group out. That's in turtle season, where you have turtles laying their eggs on the beaches, and the tribes will come out because that's easy food. You just pick up turtle eggs and eat them. But there's so much that we don't know about their lifestyle. And like people get so many things wrong. Just, you know, if If you leave them alone, then they won't kill you. If you, then people go, oh, they're Stone Age tribes. And it's like, well, they're not Stone Age tribes because they're alive right now. And you couldn't live out in the jungle, but they can.
Right.
So it's like there's elements of their botanical knowledge, their medicinal knowledge, their creation myths, their view of history. I mean, they're coming at reality from a whole different perspective than we are.
Wow. And there's really no way to get... Does anyone speak their language? Do we know what language they all speak? Is it universal? Do they have different languages?
It's not universal, and there was someone in our region who, captured a child from the uncontacted, raised him in a very remote community, and people have tried, anthropologists have tried. They've been like, hey, so what was it like when you grew up? And it's dark. He's just like, I don't remember. No one's been able to get any information out of him.
How old was he when they captured him?
I think 6. Under 10 for sure.
Does he not remember? Or does he just not want to talk about it?
I don't know. There's all these underlying stories. Oh man, yeah. There's just. Then last year, some loggers went to a place they shouldn't have gone, and they got whacked. And sort of like the WhatsApp underground in Peru. Everyone was sending each other pictures because one of the cops sent to his family a picture of what the bodies looked like on day 6, laying on the beach with arrows in them and shit. And it was like, oh my God. It was like this. It makes you stay in bed at night. You're just like, I am not going out.
Jesus.
But I mean, yeah, it's a complicated topic because there's people that want to contact them. There's people that want to leave them alone. And then, of course, there's missionaries that are like, they need the Bible.
What did you think about Lost City of Z?
I loved the book. I wanted more from the movie.
Of course.
Yeah.
There's only so much time and
yeah.
Hollywood fuckery.
Oh, God. The book was fantastic. And that guy was out of his mind.
Out of his mind.
Out of his mind.
Yeah.
Percy Fawcett.
Yeah.
Percy Fawcett. But the fact that he could go on those expeditions and not get infected.
Mm-hmm.
I've been brutally hold on, let me show you. I'll show you this picture. I don't think there's any way of pulling this up, but
oh my God.
The jungle just gets into your skin.
Oh, what is that on your face?
MRSA infection. It started mosquito bites, and then I would scratch, and then you don't realize you're spreading it with your fingernails. And you go like this and shit. And so then, I almost died from that. But I was staying in the jungle to take care of an anteater. But it's
how did you get free of that? If you're in the jungle, did you use antibiotics?
Go home.
You just go home.
I had to go home at that point. I remember I got to JFK, and the guy, he looked down at my passport. He goes, yeah, what were you doing in Peru? And then he looked up at me and he goes, buddy, what the fuck? And I was like, I'm just trying to get it. And he stamped it. He was like, go, 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 go. He's like, go to the doctor. I can't believe they let me through.
Right. You could have been infected with some crazy plague.
Could have had monkey Ebola.
Yeah.
It looked bad. And I spent days in the hospital. It was really, really bad.
Both came up with a stoned ape theory. Now, it's not a theory, it's a hypothesis. A hypothesis is speculative, but cannot necessarily be as not yet proven. A theory is a hypothesis that has been tested and proven with facts. So I disagree with them in saying it's not a theory, it's a hypothesis. But the hypothesis of the stoned ape, which I think you've alluded to before, is that with climate change and as the savannas increase and our primate ancestors came out of the forest canopies, they're tracking across the savanna. And if you're a hunter, what do you look? You look for footsteps and you look for scat. And the most significant fleshy mushroom going out of poop in Africa, hippopotamus, elephant, deer, antelope, etc., is Psilocybe cubensis. It's a very large mushroom. You're hungry. You're with your clan. You consume it, and then 20 minutes later, you are catapulted in this extraordinary experience. Psilocybin substitutes as serotonin, becomes a better neurotransmitter, activates neurogenesis. It causes new neurons to form, new pathways of knowledge. So that's the stoned ape hypothesis, and it speaks to a mystery that the human brain, basically the brain cavity doubled in size in about 2 million years. Some people say it's less than 200,000. Homo sapiens
less than 200,000 years?
Yeah. Homo sapiens arrived 200,000 to 300,000 years ago.
That's a big gap, right?
It's a big gap. Well, the science is like that. So you want to be scientifically accurate here, I need to show the extreme margins of what's been estimated. So if we accept 2 million years that and it's shown in the fossil record, this is true, the oldest Homo sapien fossils are 300,000 years old now. But we have a suddenly doubling of the human brain. And with that, our language centers increased, our ability to prognosticate, to plan. And there's no explanation for this currently. And even though we may not be able to prove it, I ask people to suspend their disbelief for a second. Now think of this. Our primate ancestors are going across the savannah. They ingest these mushrooms as a clan. Massive input for anyone who's eaten these mushrooms. Huge amounts of data is coming in. Fractal patterns, geometrical, landscapes occur. You have empathy. You have greater courage. You're fighting a saber-toothed tiger. One day you have a fear of it. We know now from neurogenesis and the extinction of the fear response that has been clinically proven, psilocybin allows you to reset and have different neurological pathways to respond to fear, overcoming the fear conditioned response, potentially PTSD, and there's a lot of research on this currently. But this wouldn't happen one time with one hominid group. It wouldn't happen 2 times, 10 times. It happened millions and millions and millions and millions of times over millions and millions of years. This leads to what I think is called, this should be called epigenetic neurogenesis. We know that there's a regeneration of neurons. We know that psilocybin substitutes the serotonin. It opens the floodgates of the senses. You have a lot more data coming in. And we know that it has the extinction of the fear response. So if you're the leader of your clan, you've had this traumatic event, either war or cataclysm from earthquakes, whatever the case may be, or encounter a saber-toothed tiger, whatever. If you're the leader of that clan and you can overcome your fear response, you have courage and you have empathy. Those are leadership skills. I think people should take note of it. People like to follow leaders who are courageous and yet kind, who they can trust. They'll have their best interests in mind. So I think this propelled, it's a very good explanation. It's an unprovable hypothesis. But now we're at a junction and we're ready for the next quantum leap in human consciousness. I think psilocybin should be looked upon as a nootropic vitamin. And there's a huge amount of interest in this. Johns Hopkins University, as you probably well know, New York University, UCLA, elsewhere in Europe, there's major clinical studies that have been conducted in the past 2 years showing exactly what I'm saying about overcoming fear response, neurogenesis, overcoming PTSD. This is now medically quite seriously considered and something that I think that we should explore under controlled settings. I'm not into partying with psilocybin mushrooms.
Damn.